Hello, Bert's Boundaries here to discuss our current president. Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, one of the most polarizing people in recent history. Racial tensions are growing in our country. People blame the president and call him a racist. No matter what side of the coin you are on, I hope we can agree that racism is wrong. So the question is Donald Trump actually racist? I don't want to discuss a lot from the distant past. Most of this video is going to be discussing things from the past 5 years. The reasoning for this is that I want to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. Society was extremely different when he was growing up. We will find out if he actually grew from past mistakes or if the bigotry continues today. In 1973, Donald's business was sued by the US Department of Justice. For what? They were disproportionately not allowing black people to rent from them. This was figured out by conducting a small experiment you or me could do. A black person would call and ask if they had any vacancies. The black people were told that there were no vacancies at all. A white person would then call and ask the same thing. In between phone calls, somehow a bunch of vacancies would open up for the white person. Black people's applications would also be signed off with the letter C, standing for colored. 2 years later in 1975, Trump settled and agreed to work using the Fair Housing Act. He also had to team up with the Urban League to present qualified black renters. Okay, Trump got a slap on the wrist. He was a second chance to do better now after getting sued anyways. But in 1978, Trump was sued again for not following on the past settlement. They were still not renting to black people, not even in 1983. He had 2 properties of over 95% white tenants. For at least 10 years, Trump was discriminating against black people. I'm going to try to give him the benefit of the doubt on what I can in this video, but I cannot do the mental gymnastics to justify this one. 2 people with the same application, just a different color, were treated differently. That is racism. The last documented part of this was in '83, 37 years ago. There is a chance at redemption, so let's see how he was acting almost 10 years ago. I look at Barack Obama and I see our first black president. He wasn't the greatest, but he did some good and some bad. The difference between Trump and I regarding Obama is I see a hardworking American. Trump sees a black man, and since he is black, he is an American to Donald. Trump revived the birther movement that was already deemed to be incorrect. When Trump first joined the Republicans in 2011, this happened.
Our current president came out of nowhere. In fact, I'll go a step further. The people that went to school with him, they don't even know, they never saw him. They don't know who he is. Crazy. Nobody knew who the hell he was. He's now our president. He's our president.
No other sitting president has had their place of birth questioned. I wonder what the difference is here. After Obama released his birth certificate for a second time, Trump said that it wasn't real. He continued to push this narrative until 2016 when this happened.
Hillary Clinton and her campaign of 2008 started the birther controversy. I finished it. You know what I mean. President Barack Obama was born in the United States, period.
He blamed it on his rival at the time, Hillary Clinton. However, there is nothing anywhere showing that Clinton was a part of this birther movement. Trump pushed this for a while and only conceded the point 2 months before election night. Maybe Trump did grow and he learned the truth through whatever means. Maybe it wasn't a racist attack and it was just a misguided information. Well, let's see if the trend stopped when he became president. In 2016, Trump was facing 3 lawsuits regarding the scam known as Trump University. The judge overseeing this was a Mexican man. Trump said that the judge could not be unbiased and do his job properly since he was Mexican. The judge's parents immigrated to the United States illegally from Mexico, and the judge was born here. Although his parents did it by what most people call the right way, and the judge literally being born in America, it wasn't American enough for Trump. I will let then Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan conclude this section.
I disavow these requirements. I regret those comments that he made. I don't think claiming a person can't do their job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable. I do absolutely disavow those comments. I think they're wrong. I don't think they're right-headed. And the thinking behind it is something I don't even personally relate to.
Presidential pardon is a very strong tool that Donald possesses. Let's take a look back at the very first person Trump pardoned. Joe Arpaio was an Arizona sheriff. Department of Justice said that Joe oversaw the worst pattern of racial profile in the U.S. history. Under his control, his officers would detain people just due to how they looked. Even after this was deemed illegal by Arizona courts, they continued to hold Latinos with no criminal charges. They did this to then send the Latinos to immigration enforcement with no just cause. Latinos were 9 times more likely to get stopped by officers under Joe. Joe had a self-proclaimed concentration camp. where a bunch of tents were used to house Latinos. The temperatures were up to 136 degrees and they forced inmates to work on chain gangs. Remember that all these people did not commit a violent crime and many of them committed no crime at all. 157 inmates died in these conditions, with 40 of them killing themselves. Joe was in support of separating families at the border and wanted it to even be more extreme, a policy that even Trump got rid of after some scrutiny. This is what Trump had to say regarding Joe.
Sheriff Joe is a patriot. Sheriff Joe loves our country. Sheriff Joe protected our borders.
He sees him as a patriot and somebody that is doing what a sheriff should be doing. Trump saved this man from being convicted and facing justice for his actions that were almost all towards Latinos. Trump kept this awful person out of jail and kept the racist dream alive. On January 11, 2018, during a meeting, Trump said, "Those shitholes send us the people they don't want," referring to El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, and other African countries. He then proceeded to say he wants immigration from places like Norway and other Asian countries. I want to fact check the statement before continuing. 48.9% of African immigrants hold a college degree. This is double the rate of an American-born white person. Double. They are the most educated group of immigrants in America and have been for over 20 years. Most of these people are also Christians. They align with the beliefs of the Republicans typically being more conservative. They come here and work their ass off, so why wouldn't we want them here over Norwegians? I am just a person with a computer and I know this. Trump has to know this too. Yet he still says things like this to discourage black people. Why would we not want these people unless we are assigning negative traits to them because they are black? We aren't helping the US by calling them undesirables and their country's shitholes, while then praising a mainly white country. Is Trump actually a racist? Not sure yet? Well, let's go over some quick things. This is Trump saying that he would pass on the man that freed the slaves and that he has done more for the black community.
Talking with the protesters and people right now wanting for the black community, and not just blacks, but communities of color, people who are disadvantaged in general. I mean, the economy is the great unifier, right?
So, I think I've done more for the black community than any other president. And let's take a pass on Abraham Lincoln because he did good, although it's always questionable. You know, in other words, the end result.
Well, we are free, Mr. President.
But we
he
are
did
free.
pretty well.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, no,
so I'm going to
it.
take a pass on Honest Abe, as we call him.
In July of this year, Trump tweeted out saying that he might have to end the affirmatively further fair housing program. It is a program that was created to help stop segregation in suburban areas. Less than a month later, the Trump administration got rid of this program, criticized as the most nakedly racist appeal. Let me show you Trump dog whistling the same way Hitler did over 80 years ago.
And they were strong. You have good genes, you know that, right? You have good genes. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? The racehorse theory, you think we're so different? You have good genes in Minnesota.
By the way, this is in September of this year. I want to share one more clip.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing
to
do
specifically
that,
do it? Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by.
The original question was, is Trump actually a racist? Overwhelmingly, the answer is yes. To document every single racist thing that this man has done before would take weeks. I showed you only some of the things that he has done. You can make your own choice of everything presented, but to have your own party come at you and declare you as a racist is unheard of. The man does not think highly of different races. This man has time and time again proved this to be the case. I cannot change a diehard conservative take on this party, but Donnie isn't your party. You can vote Republican and not support this man. The president is supposed to unite us as one. How can he do that when he still sees us as 3/5? Trump, you are a racist. The last few clips I showed were all within the past few months. Trump hasn't grown at all and continues to lead racist ideologies. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I will catch you all later.